Welcome to this next episode of YouTube, where we're happy to report that Shadow and Malik are feeling better. Malik seemed to come around a little bit faster than Shadow. Malik also may have contracted this earlier than Shadow, meaning that we saw the diarrhea in Malik earlier than we did in Shadow, and so it may have been something that just a couple of days difference, maybe just who was exposed. We still don't really have a confirmation what it is. Wolves aren't likely to just sit and take a blood draw. We actually have to immobilize in order to get blood work, and this is way too risky temperature-wise as far as their ability to thermoregulate in this temperature. Time of the year, aggression type things that go on this time of the year is just not the time to drug wolves and put them through that, especially these guys nearing 13 years of age. So we saw Shadow take a little bit longer this week. It was a little bit rough, but he is back on the mend. Here he's doing an invite chase, and he does a little bit of a chase around the pen to Malik. Malik was doing an RLU there and marking. Shadow did investigate but didn't overmark, but that's usually a good sign that they're feeling better. The other sign is the howling, so I'll got a couple of clips of this, and again, he's very bright-eyed. That's the things that we look at, his eye condition, any alertness, how he's feeling, and a tremendous difference from what we saw even just earlier in the week. So we want to thank all the people who answered our plea for extra food. Here we are feeding Shadow Malik. Actually, we bought him a couple turkeys this week because we want to have a little bit more volume so they can guard and possess. They tend to eat that better than just smaller chicken pieces. So we got both of them 20-pound turkeys this week and for their feeding. But again, I didn't include last names here, but I hope you know who you are. Henry, Catherine, Stephen, Elizabeth, Leanne, Danielle, Anne, Vicky and Art, Martha and Louise. Thank you so much for helping us through this. And again, we never sacrifice the resources for the wolves, but when I'm triple my budget amount here in January because of this situation with lack of roadkill in Luna, it's always nice to know that we have help to help us through this. So the wolves appreciate it, and we certainly do hear that. So I'll let you listen to Shadow's howl for a bit. Grizzer does appreciate extra feedings as well, and he's also still getting some deer legs, some parts. We've been trying to, every time we give the main pack a deer, we'll maybe take a leg or two off so that they don't need that much resources in the exhibit pack. The ravens actually eat quite a bit and scavenge quite a bit on it, so it's best that we don't feed a full carcass in there. And so we'll take a leg or two off. Sometimes we'll give them to Luna. Sometimes Grizzer will get them, but he's cashing it in the straw there. He's still got a leg from last week, and even though he had chicken and beef this week, he still likes to carry that deer leg around. Then he does a little posturing in front of the retireds, who haven't had a deer leg in a little bit, so a little cruel there. But then he takes it back into the back part of the den and caches it back there. So as we said, typically Grizzer, hard to get film on him. Here he is, waiting for the staff to interact, and the staff is filming here. So he's going to try to do a submissive paw roll on his back. All indications that he wants behavioral interactions rather than filming. But we thought you'd like to, again, just share, probably some of those special moments that Wolf Care staff have with especially Grizzer, who gets to be in a submissive posture like this and doesn't have the grief of the other wolves around them. So Grizzer is doing well. Good winter coat. We've actually warmed up a little bit. That means we're going to get some snow here. And the snow is typically something that we spend a lot of time dealing with. We have a snowfall, then we have to redo all the beds. So if you're planning on being here for working for wolves, we got a workload. We have been using straw every day for all packs. Shadow, while he was sick here, we wanted to make sure he had a very comfortable place to sleep. And Malik wasn't always letting him in the den because he was guarding some of the meat, and so Shadow was sleeping on top of the den, and that might have been preference for him too. When you don't feel well, you don't only want to be, touching your brother in the den or having to deal with him, so he may have been sleeping on top of the den for a reason. But straw in the exhibit pack for Luna, straw for Grizzer. We've got straw everywhere. So we've got a big job of getting that out in the spring. So it's piled pretty high and deep in here right now. So as you can see, fresh straw pretty much coats everything, and this is Bolts coming over to the top of the den. Luna and Denali and Aiden had actually been up on the top of the hill. We've had a little bit of indication that there might be some wolf presence around the outside of the enclosures with some tracks, but not seeing too much activity there. And then, like I say, lots of the exhibit pack gets a deer every week, so that means they've got lots of scraps and leftovers. This is a deer hide. Luna's going to pluck it and just kind of pull some of that hair off of it. She likes to toss, and actually she tossed something earlier, and it kind of went through in between two rocks, and she got all confused because she didn't see where it went, and so we had to help her to get it back for her, and then she's chewing on it here. So this is a complete consumption. You know, the ravens do take a little bit of meat from those carcasses, but the wolves finish them up. There's not much that's wasted here. A vertebrae will be snapped into, ribs will be snapped off, and Luna, that's her favorite thing to do. Here she comes running down the hill, and she's going to be at the front of the exhibit, kind of paying attention to something, and then Bolts comes over and gives her a little bit of dominance, rolling her to the ground, pinning her. Again, this is something that these two do on a regular basis. This is what separates pups from adults. There's a lot of this social interactions here. Another thing that separates the pups from the adults, here's Bolts doing a standing urination. Then he scrapes the ground to simulate that broadcasting of scent, but the straw movement startled him, so then he went into a little bit of a pounce. So again, the behaviors are there, they're just not that well defined. So he's working on that, scraping the ground after he urinates, but not likely to do an RLU. That's usually reserved for more dominant animals. This is a clip that only lasted about 2 seconds. I replayed it 3 times here just to show you how Luna, sometimes her defiance can lead to Aiden showing a little bit of a threat display here, and lasted about 3 seconds, then it was over and she went about her business. But Luna definitely needs to have a little bit of boundaries set for her. She's the only female, so she's the top ranking female by default, and there are times when her attitude is something that warrants a little bit of discipline. That includes from staff as well as from wolves. That clip was about 3 seconds long, and Aiden just showed a threat display to some obnoxious behavior, snapping behavior. Luna had actually had a muzzle grab from the staff because of Luna biting and grabbing, and so just a quick pinch of the muzzle, and Luna didn't like it, so she went to Aiden, and she went to do a lunge bite on Aiden, and Aiden put an end to it. So again, after that, it lasted about 3 seconds. She went about her business and came over and sat on the rock. This is something that young wolves have to learn, what their boundaries are, and she's certainly learning that. But you can tell here, like I say, she's very alert. She's very interested in sitting on the rocks, and that's a good indication. She's climbing probably more than she has been. You still see that limp on her leg, and there's no doubt we've got a lot of thinking to do on what her future management is. This is not the time of the year, again, to be drugging and taking wolves out of the pack because of activity, because of ambient temperatures, but we will be looking at a management for her in the future. So the rest of, we'll let you listen to a clip here of the Shadow Malik started this. Denali howled, and we actually got Luna howling, so I'll let you listen to that clip. So as I said, we have some snow falling. We're going to actually have probably another 6 inches here by Sunday. The wolves actually very picturesque in this kind of weather. Denali is alert, and he's relaxed. He's in a Sphinx rest, kind of a, Sphinx rest is where the legs are out in front of the individual. Easy to get up and moving around with that, but pretty much relaxed and not doing a lot, laying on the straw and just kind of grooming himself and having a good afternoon. So that's it from Wolf Care, and again, we'll thank again for all the people who supported us in this little shortage of meat. We are happy to report that we're on our way to getting a good supply available. So thanks again. We'll see you next week.